Hey, Julianna here from Promosaurus. I went to the Innovation Expo in Guelph today, and it was the first time since the beginning of COVID to go to an expo. So I thought I'd show you some of the things I collected and materials that I brought home and share my thoughts on the marketing at the event, both for the booths and the materials at the booths. But in case you were at the expo, you had a booth or whatnot, and this sounds scary, I promise you, I was so inspired and excited to talk to all of the people that I met there at the expo. You're doing such awesome things to address the issues that we have in our world today, both socially and environmentally. And your booths and materials were really nice. So please don't take any of this as criticism, just trying to help out. So I have four areas to talk about, and the first being swag. So I think we can all kind of agree that swag has mainly ran its course, especially the stuff that's like kind of cheap and, just has a logo on it. But we sometimes still use some of that. So, and I get it. Like, people like free stuff. I'm even guilty of that. But we know we know about the environmental problems with that. So that said, the swag at the event was actually quite low. There wasn't a whole lot. So Meridian did have some things that you could take home. So I was looking at it and like, okay, what could I use? So I grabbed this rain like measuring thing. Honestly, I don't really need that. So if you are in the Guelph area and you could use this thing, please get in touch. I'd love to give it to you so that it can actually get some use. And I also grabbed some headphones from them. I need some more headphones. Mine are busted. And hopefully these are quality and do last me for a couple years. So that's something about swag, right? Sometimes it's like not super good quality. So that's kind of a reason why people are moving away from it. Some other items, I'll just put this over here, were like these sporks, which I love these, so I took a couple. Also because they told me to take a couple. But the thing is, like, why are they wrapped in like individually in plastic? This is not the fault of Invest in Guelph by any means. It's really the company that sold these. So come on, they don't need to be wrapped in individual plastic. Also got some socks from the Innovation Expo. Didn't really need them, so there, I'm guilty. They were made in Italy, so hopefully they are very good quality and last me a long time. Of course, got some pens, which I actually needed. I got there and realized I didn't have a pen. And my stockage of pens has been running low because of COVID and they're not being exposed. So those are handy. And then some other things here, some quinoa, some seed bombs, pad of paper, that's all useful, and some straws, metal straws to keep in my purse. I got a second one so that I can give one to a friend. But oh man, I wish that they weren't in these like capsules. I mean, that's great, I guess, for keeping it clean, but like all this extra plastic. Anyways, so, swag, I guess it still has a place. And so if we're going to use swag for our promotions, just think about whether it is useful. Make sure to, invest in good quality stuff so that we're not just adding waste to the waste piles and to the oceans. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also got a travel mug. I wasn't going to, but the travel mug I have is kind of broken. So, and this one says Invest in Guelph, and I'm kind of obsessed with my city, so I had to do that. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about swag. On that topic, paper materials. So I did end up with a fair amount of paper materials, even a book. The book is Discover Us, Innovation Grows Here, and looks like it has a lot of stories about companies in my area, so that's cool. I'm excited to look at it. You know what? I saw that the amount of paper materials really had decreased since past years when I would go to these kinds of shows. There was one company here that I did get a lot of paper from, but I also grabbed it because they're thinking of working with me on their branding and the promotional materials, so it seemed pretty relevant. But the best thing to do to reduce paper waste is to just not produce it in the first place. So that's something. But on the other hand, I got lots of business cards. Of course I was going to get a lot of business cards because I want to stay in touch with these people and I don't want to have to spend the whole time writing down contact information. I do think that business cards are like the paper materials that are the most useful and most relevant, like most worth continuing with. I definitely get cards made because they're just so handy, right? You see someone, you can give this to them, and it has your branding on it. They'll probably keep it around for a while. I know I've kept my entire collection of business cards from people. So I think it's handy, and sometimes people have really cool ideas with it. So Nikki at Saponetti, she has a refillery, and these used to be the tags. I'm not used to doing videos, so I keep looking here. I even covered where my face is. I'm trying to remember to look there. Anywho, so these were the tags for her products at her refillery. And she was finding that they didn't really work very well because they would just rip off or whatnot. So she found a way to recycle them or reuse them by just printing off stickers with her contact information to use these as business cards. So I think that's really clever and really good. It also stands out. It makes, it helps you to remember that it's a product because it's shaped like a product tag, and has her cool branding on it as well, of course. So I thought that was really great. So think of doing those kinds of things. Of course, don't create these tags just for the sake of turning it into a business card, right? We're all about reusing and reducing waste, and we want to be authentic when we do it. All right, so that's my ideas on paper. So a great thing that I saw happening was people selling stuff. So I think that if you're going to be at an expo, if you typically do sell materials, bring stuff and have things for sale at your booth, and have samples for it. So it's a great way of getting people to engage more with your products and to get all their senses involved with it, so that you're more engaged and you are more likely to buy it. And I actually I bought this big bag of potting soil. It really smells like it here. So this is from Jocelyn's Soil Booster, and it is made of worm castings and organic products, and I can't forget what else, I can't remember what else, but it says upcycled ingredients, organic and peat free. So yeah, so awesome. And I wanted to buy it while I was there because I don't want to order it online and have more packaging involved in this and more carbon emissions when I can just buy it there and bring it home with me. Anyways, that's an aside, but that was cool that she had bags of her potting mix available. And a little idea for her, maybe to next time have a bowl with some of this stuff there, and you can get in there, right, and feel it. Maybe people don't want soil all over themselves. Maybe I'm probably just weird, but I think that where you can get more tactile and more in closely connected with the materials, the better. All right, what else was I going to say? So about the booths, uh, the more interactive, like I was saying, and the more multimedia, the better. So Jocelyn also had a screen showing. I actually didn't catch it. So she had a screen and it had information, video content on there. So that was really great. And it also, her booth was also like open, so you could kind of like walk into it. And I think that's an awesome idea too, so that you get people like feeling like they're more a part of what's going on there and as though they're like in a shop. Yeah. All right. So samples again are a really great thing to do. I got a jar of chutney and I was able to taste it, and she had like crackers and just one scoop for each sample. Well, no, she only used one scoop. So she gave me a cracker and then she put a scoop on it. So there was no like plastic waste. The only waste was the napkins. So samples are really great, and there are ways of doing it in a sustainable way. I think it also is possible to show the process and even comparisons at your booths. So Saponetti, the one with this cool business card, like I said, they have a refillery, and she could have shown containers, like the large containers from which you would get, like you would refill your glass jar or your own jar with. So that may be an idea for her for the future. So that would kind of like educate people on the process. Like what happens when you go into the store? Oh, there's a refill like there's the larger container and you refill your container and then you would bring it back. And she could have also, just an idea, have a whole bunch of plastic containers and have that beside like the one glass jar that would be used instead, and so that it shows like how much waste can be diverted. And I mean, really, she wouldn't even be able to show all the waste that would be able to be diverted, because if you keep using the same jar over and over and over, it can be indefinite, right? But it can just help to get that idea into people's heads. Yeah. And then to use the full height and space in your booth at an expo. So like I said, if you can walk into it, that's great. And there was a company called The Expert Talk. Jen's a friend of mine. She had a question posted on a little board. Can't remember what it was, but you were to write your answer onto this little, card that was in the shape of their logo. So it also helped to make that connection with their brand. And then when you wrote your answer on it, they attached it to the drop sheet, the backdrop behind them, with little clothespins on these little like hemp lines. So it was really cool, and I think that it's great for helping people to feel like they are a part of a group and part of they're just a part of something. And yeah, I think it's a great way of getting engagement with the materials and with your company. So similarly, Crazy D's, which has pop, they could have, it was a little bit interactive because he was able to show that like this on his pop cans, it's rubbing off a bit. You can probably see because it's not a plastic label. It's printed directly onto the aluminum, and so it scratches off. And that way he's able to show, that this really is recyclable. But the idea I had for him was that he could have had like samples and had you guess which the flavor each was. So like this is ginger, so he could have had one that's ginger. Oh, can you guess if it's ginger? But I guess that's a little bit gimmicky. And what I did love was that he focused on talking about the sustainability of his products. It may have been because he heard me talking to his neighbor about sustainability and whatnot, so knew that he should talk about that with me, in which case, brilliant. That's so great. If you hear someone or, talking about something, or you see that they care about something and you have that aspect in your business, definitely talk about that. It's a great way of making that connection with them, right? Yeah. So let's see. The biggest thing about booths that I would recommend, and there was only a couple like this that this would really apply to, but good for all of us to keep in mind, is just to make sure that your booth communicates really clearly exactly who you are and what you do, so that we as visitors aren't left trying to figure it out. Because if you go up to a booth and you can't tell who they are or what they do, it can feel kind of awkward. You feel like people feel self-conscious about that and may feel like, oh gosh, well, I don't want to ask. I should know, shouldn't I? Well, maybe you aren't responsible for that, because maybe they should have communicated it just a little bit more clearly. So that's a consideration for a couple of them. And similarly, there was a booth that looked like they were doing really great stuff, but their booth was full of stuff. There were shelves and it was just packed top to bottom, and the table was covered with stuff. And I think what they were doing, where is the pamphlet, was they have product packages for postnatal, what is it called? Anyhow, for women who are going into labor. And that's wonderful. It's great. And I really liked what they're doing. And they have a lot of natural and organic products in their packages. I see that when I look at their little guidebook. But there was, like I said, a lot in this booth. So I think they could have limited it to fewer examples, fewer packages, to demonstrate like what is in these packages specifically, so that it's just a little bit less overwhelming and you're not going, well, whoa, what is all this, so that's just my thought on that. But like overall, they were really great, like all of the booths. And you know what, there were so many awesome businesses there, and I end up talking to people a lot, so I didn't get to visit them all. I think I was there for a couple hours, visited like 15 or something booths. But the ones I talked to were all just like really incredible, really inspiring. I'm so glad that they're doing the work they're doing, and I hope that maybe I get to help them out sometime. But yeah, I hope that this video is helpful for you if you are planning to be at a conference and have a table, that maybe a couple of these tips help you to take your booth to the next level. So just to review them again, the first tip was swag. To reduce the amount of swag, make sure it's useful, make sure that if your audience is in the environmental field or area at all, that they are sustainable products. Secondly, to only have printed material that are really needed, and for those to be, well, really clear, and actually even to like do it on recycled material and whatnot, if that's going to be applicable to your audience. Third, have stuff for sale and to have samples so that people can try it out before they buy it. And fourth, to make sure that your booth is really clear, that it is engaging for people, that it communicates clearly. I already said that. Have some demonstrations, videos, samples, show the processes, and just use your booth and this cool opportunity you have to engage with people and get them as like involved or like experiencing your products and services as much as possible with that cool opportunity. All right, cool. I hope that was helpful for you. If you would like to talk about any of these things, please get in touch. Again, it's Julianna at Promosaurus. Bye.